Something I have to ask you about. You're the next ambassador of the High End Society. So what are your expectations in this role?
I think, obviously very flattering to be asked, at all, but I think hopefully I understand that the invitation comes because I'm perceived as someone who has an interest and commitment to sonic excellence in the quality of music, in the music I make. Now, I grew up in the 80s, and when I fell in love with music, I fell in love with not just the songs and the artists, but the texture and the sound of records. And my parents listened to things like, those classic Frank Sinatra albums. I would hear things like ABBA's Greatest Hits. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon was one that my father loved a lot. And I think the one thing that all of the records have in common, regardless of what genre they may be coming from, is they all sounded beautiful. They had a magical quality to them.
Did you listen to vinyl? Or?
Yeah, it would have been all vinyl in the 80s, yeah. And even that thing about just that tactile kind of relationship between the music and the person listening to it, taking the record out, the gatefold sleeves and the lyric sheets, putting the record on the turntable. And that whole kind of like romance of listening to vinyl, which of course is now coming back again. I think even the younger generation are understanding that there's something very, romantic about vinyl, and that whole kind of physical relationship you have with the music and holding it in your hands that you just can't get from obviously you can't get from streaming files.
No, it appeals to more senses also.
I think there's something very human about wanting to own and treasure something that means a lot to you intellectually and emotionally, but also to be able to hold it in your hands and treasure it. I think, again, people are discovering that again, almost like the pendulum swings back. Not completely, but there's a little swing in the opposite direction again. So this whole idea of then being able to hear that music in the best possible way, the highest possible sonic quality. I'm someone that cares about the sound of my records, the production of my records. I like the fact that people listen to music in 5.1 sound, for example, is something I've become very involved in. So not just stereo, but having the music completely surrounding you, so you're immersed in this whole sonic picture. And I like the fact there are a lot of people that are still very committed to that idea. And in some senses, it's, like I said, the pendulum is swinging back. It's almost like on the rise again. That the more the pendulum swings in the direction of MP3s and compressed music and streaming, the more the pendulum swings back in the opposite direction. Audiophile, higher resolutions, 5.1 sound, vinyl, Blu-ray as an audio format. And obviously that then leads into an interest in the reproduction of the music, the speakers, the amplifier, the room that you listen to your music in. And people seem to really, really care about that again, which is amazing.